was recently here at Tshwane House. Siya Kolisi, the captain of the Springboks, presenting the Webb Ellis Trophy to President Ramaphosa and the Tshwane Mayor. They've just left right now. They are heading towards Johannesburg, but of course we have the supporters of the Springboks that are still lingering around here, excited. It was their first time to see, some of them it was their first time to see the trophy, to see here in action, in person. Let me talk to you guys. All right, you've got your Springbok shirt, stronger together. What does this mean to you?
I'm so proud about see the Springbok win rugby on 2015. On 95, I was young, I didn't see. 2007, I didn't see. Now it's my chance to see the rugby champion.
Let's give another one a chance. Yeah, how do you feel?
I feel very excellent. Go, go, ball.
You're feeling excellent. Sisters, come over here. You've been waiting. You've got your sunglasses. You've got the whole gear going on here. Hello. Talk to us. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling so happy considering that our country has been through a lot. At least now we have something big to celebrate. Thank you, Mabako.
Speaking about our country being through a lot, there's some on social media that's saying that this means nothing. What's your take on that?
It means a lot. It means a lot. You know, to win a World Cup. No, we're proud. You did it, Boke. We're proud of you. Okay. Yes, thank you.
All right, let me go to the young ones. They say young face, it seems a bit shy. What does this mean to you?
It means a lot. It's a great inspiration. I'm not a rugby supporter though, but there was a
good atmosphere here, right?
Yeah, there was a Heineken advert that was saying you don't need to know the rules to understand the rugby.
I'm not sure if you should be drinking that beer though. You seem a bit young for that. But yes, he is excited. Maybe let me go to this side. I see some beautiful ladies here. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Good, and you?
And then talk to us about today. Did you see Sia? Did you get that chance?
Yes, I see the boys and I'm very happy. I'm happy.
All right, you're happy that you got the chance. All right, one more person to add. How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
It was so fantastic to see the Bokers, and then we are proud of you. We are South Africa. We are proud.
Who's your favorite one?
Sia.
The small one.
Okay, Sia.
All right, those shots got cut off, but that's the big story of the day. Earlier on, we cut off from the state president giving another address in relation to the South African Investment Conference. He was at the UJ Soweto campus, and he was giving his speech there to finalize and encouraging entrepreneurs to really be part of the efforts to revive the economy of South Africa. There's the bus slowly driving out of Pretoria, and very soon it will be getting into Bloemfontein, making a few stops there. I know one of the major stops they're going to be making is at the Nelson Mandela Bridge in Bloemfontein, quite an iconic and very significant stopover. And let's just bring in our colleague here, sports producer Thando Mxoli. Thando, thank you so much for coming through. The significance of the Nelson Mandela Bridge stopover.
It's the heartland of a couple of universities. It's the connecting place for many traveling workers and students in Joburg. It's basically the heartbeat of the nation. This is where a lot of people commute daily. This is where a lot of people should see as the connection with the game. I've always had an issue with a lot of people from Joburg not connecting with the game. We see Joburg as a soccer city, and I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yes, soccer is big, but sports like rugby and cricket should be able to connect with a game like rugby as a career option. It's just as viable, if not more viable, than a rugby and a cricket, than soccer. Sorry, it's also played in a number of good schools around Joburg. Parktown Boys is just down the road from the Nelson Mandela Bridge. The Wits University also has a very vibrant rugby program. We're talking about development earlier.
Yeah.
Those
I know of
programs-
Jeppe School in Johannesburg, which
That's
is
a thing.
also a huge rugby school.
It is. Jake White, for example, was another World Cup winning
Exactly,
coach who came from that very same rugby
Jeppe,
program.
yes.
Those are stories that need to be revived. We need to talk about the rugby programs in Joburg. There's a lot of rugby schools, both English schools and Afrikaans-speaking schools in that area. We need to recognize the significance of the Nelson Mandela Bridge because it brings together a lot of different parts of society.
Yeah.
We talk about, for example, the size factor. How many foreigners live in Hillbrow and how many Nigerians live in Hillbrow? Why don't we introduce the game to them? That's just another
social
concept.
cohesion.
That's another thing I'm just throwing out there. So there are many things we should look at.
But Thando, you're making a case here for Gauteng and Johannesburg.
Yes.
But some of our viewers who are talking to us through social media are really unhappy about the fact that the touch points for this tour are only 3 provinces. And what about the rest of the other provinces?
But look, it was initially, it was never going to touch every single point. And also, if you look at the places where they're going, they're not going to the traditional rugby strongholds. They're not going to Newlands. They're not going to Ellis Park. They're going to different places to talk about the need to address, to open up the game.
You're telling a different story.
Yeah, you also need to touch those new markets. You also need to say, guys, there's a bigger market out there. Joburg, for example, has got townships like Vosloorus, Tembisa, Soweto.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Soweto is not known for its rugby presence, and there is Soweto Rugby Club, but it could be bigger than it is. We talk about transformation and we talk about the Eastern Cape. Why do we have to go all the way to the Eastern Cape when we've got such a big group of people that could be involved in the game? The rugby, black rugby, this should be the stronghold of black rugby. They're modern, they're more. How can I put it? There's an urban black population.
So how do you balance that reach for inclusion, which is what you've been saying since we started this conversation?
Yes.
But also not disregard the important role that the Eastern Cape has played in the growth of particularly black rugby?
It's simple. You recognize both factors. For example, how many people commute from Soweto to your park town and JP every day to go to school?
Yeah.
How many people, when you on a Saturday morning, play for those first teams at JP and Parktown Boys? Black players. How many black players play for your Gauteng under 19 and under 21 teams? Those are the people that need to be nurtured and made sure that they don't leave the game. Now, the Eastern Cape as a province, unfortunately, over the last couple of years, they have sold themselves short on the administrative level. But things are coming right. People are making the right noises. They are running the game in a much better way. If you run the game properly, the kids will stay at home. Everyone wants to play their game at home. Again, kids that travel to these model city schools, they are exposed to the game. Asiya Kolisi is from Ezwide, but he played his rugby and gained prominence at grade PE. That relationship cannot be disregarded. But also, we also need to make sure that the kids that play first team at grade PE, first team at JP, first team at Parktown Boys, don't leave the game. And Aphiwe Dyangi, for example, did not play first team at Dale College, but he went on to become a Springbok rugby player. They need to understand that there is a career afterwards. There is a career option in rugby.
So, Thando, I don't know if you were watching the show earlier. We were speaking to Bayanda Mdanda, who is part of the developmental narrative in terms of rugby in the KZN province. What are the important conversations that should be held in terms of development? And one of them, and I asked him this question as well, that need to choose between sport and academics. Even some schools now are saying they put completely disregarding sport and focusing on academics. And you know some schools will focus on sport achievement and sports excellence. Is there a way to harmonize the two?
There's no need to choose between the two. Both can coexist in an ideal environment. We've got doctors who have become Springbok rugby players. Yanni du Plessis was a a fully qualified doctor, and he was a Springbok rugby player. Funny enough, he played in the front row.
Yeah.
Props are not known for their smartness, but he was a qualified doctor who became a Springbok, a World Cup winning Springbok at that.
Someone's saying in my ear, careful, I was a prop.
There's no need to separate the two.
Yeah.
Both can coexist. Springbok rugby players get paid as the highest.
But also, on the converse of what you've just said, the recognition that sometimes if you're good at sport and not academically, then follow or push that side.
There's nothing wrong with that, but still, you need to find your path in life, whether it's academics, whether it's sport.
Aren't we all?
But don't neglect anything at the expense of the other. And also, the people that run these programs, talent should not be stifled. We should not have boys' club. We should not have situations whereby people get picked for the wrong reasons. We should not have situations whereby if your dad is not part of the right club, you do not get picked for a certain team. Talent alone should be able. We've seen with this team.
But isn't that the story of Siya Kolisi? Look at where talent has gotten him.
That's the story of this team. This team right here is basically made up of, some would call misfits, because this team is not dominated by a certain province or a franchise. This team is made up of individuals who had a common cause. Their talent made them become world dominators. That is what you're looking for. As a country, we have won those 3 World Cups, not because so-and-so's dad had more money and they contributed the most to someone's kit. Those people that became part of those teams, John Smith's team, John was a captain for everyone. Francois Pienaar got together a group of players and he made them believe that despite the history of the country, they could become the best in the world. Siya Kolisi took together a team of guys who had not dominated anything in the last 4 years. They had not been part of a winning team. The Lions had been the dominant team in South Africa, but this team is not full of Lions players.
Just unpack this team for us, starting with the relationship between the captain and the team manager, Rassie Erasmus, where sometimes there was a sense that Rassie was putting in other people ahead of Kolisi, but he had a strategy, didn't he?
If even that was if you know the relationship between Thando Mxoli and Rassie Erasmus, you would have known that those accusations were far from the truth.
Baseless,
those two, Rassie knows Siya from when he was at Great PE, when he played his rugby in PE, and Rassie was director of rugby in the Western Cape with the Stormers and Western Province. He brought him to Stellenbosch at the Western Province Academy, and he nurtured him as a youngster. He groomed him to the level whereby Siya replaced one Skalk Burger, who was actually a hero of Siya Kolisi.
We're enjoying our conversation too much, and we totally forgetting that there's another story unfolding as we speak. The bus is now on, is it the N1 highway going south? Going to Johannesburg, Josie Maboneng. Isn't it interesting that the bus is in golden colors? Is that intentional?
It is intentional.
I would think. Branding is important.
Branding is important, and also we need to understand that this team is the golden generation. It is the golden team.
They truly are.
We need to understand the significance of what they've achieved. This team are not a second-rate team. They need to be respected. They're great. They are great in every sense of the word. They are the best in the world. They have beaten the best in the world, and that is greatness.
So yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa opened the second South African Investment Conference, and the first line of his speech was "Welcome to a winning nation." And speaker after speaker after speaker, especially those businesses that came up to pledge monies to investment in the country, none of them didn't start talking about this victory before getting into their bit.
There are times to be humble, but there are also times to recognize your achievements and, and the potential within the country. This country is full of promise. This country is full of great things. We've achieved great things. We are the founding members of a united nation. we are the leaders in the mining sector, for example. We can't take for granted things like that and sit and be humble and wait for other people to take the lead in praising us. We need to show the world at what we've done as a country and as a nation.
So no modesty required here?
Not yet. No. There's a time for that, but also at a time where we need to put ourselves in the right place in the world spectrum. We need to show the world where we are and what we've done in the world politics.
What do you think the big rugby nations, their conversations are right now about lessons that can be learned from South Africa's game?
It's actually ironic that we created the big problem that became New Zealand. New Zealand winning back-to-back World Cups. We beat them three times in 1 year. And they sat and they said, we need to fix our rugby. They sat and they had a big meeting and said, we need to put our nation first. Individual teams winning Super Rugby tournaments was not going to cut it. And that created the problem which was New Zealand winning their first World Cup since 1987. And from there, they went and they won in 2015 because of the structures they put into play, which was based, ironically, on a game plan we had implemented. We had a great kicking game plan in the likes of Morné Steyn and Fourie du Preez. They took that game plan and mastered it and took it to another level. But that was because of our greatness. We were world dominators. We were world champions back then. But our greatness.
So we've essentially reclaimed our place.
We have reclaimed our place, but we've inspired other nations to greatness, and they'll sit and they'll say, how do they do it? It's easy to get to the top, but the difficulty is staying at the top and making sure that we remain the top team in the world.
What are your thoughts about the English team? Did they have a game plan on the day? What was interesting for me, you spoke about Jake White earlier. He had brought in Eddie Jones as an advisory person for the last World Cup that Jake White won. And because of that, one had a sense of trepidation to say, you know, they could just take this one. But going onto the field, they just seemed like they didn't have a plan at all.
England are a good team. They have a very smart coach in Eddie Jones. On the day, we were more switched on. We wanted it more. We were more desperate. If you listen to our coach talking about how this team approached this tournament, we had more to lose. Our hunger came from a deeper place. England just wanted to win a rugby game.
Because they can.
Yeah, we wanted to inspire a nation. We had gone through.
And my God, have we?
Yes, our cricket World Cup team. It was embarrassing. I can't find the right ways to put it.
Yeah.
We have gone through some embarrassing moments as a nation, and this was the only moment we had to inspire this nation and rise it from its slump. And this victory, we had that moment to do it. And it was not just a moment to win a rugby game, it was a moment to bring together a nation.
But these embarrassing moments you talk about also extend to the other codes. We've had dismal performances in cricket, dismal performances in soccer.
Again,
how does this extend to those other codes?
Again, it shows what a team that gets together, that actually get along, can achieve. These guys, like I said earlier, this is not a team of people who had achieved great things. None of these guys had won great tournaments. This is not a team that had a history of winning any great tournaments. They just came together and said, look, guys, we need to have a common goal and a common cause. In that common cause, they found greatness, and they went for it, and they achieved that greatness. That unity, it's a South African thing. We talk about, it's like when you talk about the great stories in South Africa, the great trick that the Afrikaners talk about.
It's that massive.
It is that massive, because when people are desperate, when South Africans are desperate and they need to find something deep, they step up, and they step up in a big way, not in a mediocre way.
Thando, in your analysis, are you part of that narrative or not that says there was a strategy to lose the first game to avoid meeting up with the big teams along the way?
No. When you looked at the draw, we did not foresee Japan beating Ireland, for example. So everyone wanted to win that initial game. New Zealand thought, you win this game, you have an easier path. But unfortunately, Japan went and beat Ireland, which basically turned the entire tournament on its head.
With hindsight, was it good that South Africa lost that game, or would it have overcome whichever team they met?
In hindsight, yes, it was good. But that said, we had to face the tournament hosts.
Yeah.
And tournament hosts who were playing very good rugby.
That was such a difficult game.
So that said,
because you felt for the hosts, but you wanted your nation to win.
Yes, everyone is talking about how we had it easy. This is not like the 207 victory. That was a lot easier as a tournament victory. This one was more difficult in my eyes because beating Japan in that quarterfinal was not easy. The pressure leading up to that, the expectation of a nation and the whole world wanting us to lose. No matter how good you are, sometimes the emotion gets the better of you. And these guys had the temperament to basically put aside Japan and focus on the next match, which was Wales, a very good Welsh side, which had won the Six Nations tournament. They had all the potential to beat any good team in the world, and that's what we wanted. We did what we had to do, and we did it efficiently without any.
So you spoke earlier in our conversation about the Nigerians that are in Hillbrow, the other nations that inhabit different parts of Johannesburg. In terms of social cohesion, or racism is a big conversation in South Africa, but it's a global conversation. What was your biggest takeaway? I mean, mine was that when I looked at the Japanese team, growing up, we watched kung fu films and that, and you have an idea of what Japanese people look like. That team was nothing like what you know Japanese people to look like. What did this tournament, or what does the Rugby World Cup tournament mean for especially Eastern Asians nations, their entry into world sport?
It starts
away from karate, away from the usual Eastern nation sports.
It starts with when you saw the videos of normal civilians in Japan singing the national anthems of different countries. That's how they embraced other nations. The Japanese people could sing the national anthem of South Africa better than South Africans. That's how you embrace other people's culture. I don't know about
that, but I get you.
Well, we all know how some people struggle with Afrikaans.
It was a good effort.
It was a brilliant effort, and that's how you embrace other people's cultures. You sit and you say, we're not here to be better than you. We're here to take the best out of you, and together, let's see how far we can go. This World Cup embraced everyone's culture, and in return, people saw the good that came from the Japanese society. And every team went in there with a respectful nature. We saw incidents whereby people would act in an unprofessional manner. Late tackles, people would get red cards, and they would go into the opponent's dressing room and they would apologize for those things. The whole tournament was conducted in a respectful manner, and this was probably the best World Cup tournament I have seen since 1987, purely because of the spirit in which the game was played. And that's purely because of how the people of Japan took in the whole concept of embracing other people's culture, and that is the only way to be a better society.
Mtawarira's announcement last night that he's taking a bow, was it time for him?
It is time to take a bow from the international scene. He's retiring on a high. He has served the game greatly. He has been an awesome ambassador for the game. He has been an awesome ambassador for his country of birth, which is Zimbabwe. He has been an awesome ambassador for his adopted country, which is South Africa. He has carried himself with greatness. He has served the country very well. He is one of the most experienced rugby players in the world, and he's done so with a great attitude. His attitude towards the game has seen him revered all over the world. Yes, it's sad to see a great career come to an end, but his attitude has also endeared him to every every nation and every stadium and every rugby-loving person.
We're talking to and thoroughly enjoying the conversation with Thando Mxoli. He's one of our sports producers. But remember that various colleagues are at different points around the Gauteng province, somewhere in Pretoria and Tshwane in the morning. And as the bus proceeds to go to Joburg now, we'll be talking to different colleagues. But we also have standing by Griselda Lewis, who we will be talking to later on. She was at the courts this morning in the Richard Mxoli sentencing. We will be talking to her later on as well in that regard.